and if you are in the Republic, circumstantial evidence must lead irresistibly to one conclusion. In this particular case, what conclusion is it going to lead to?
His brother.
No,
and the brother is the vice president or president. Therefore, if he received money intended, and we haven't seen any connections that he got money, he must have gotten money.
Circumstantial evidence must lead irresistibly.
It's presiding over all the meetings.
It must lead irresistibly to the fact that money did pass.
All right.
And you can see they must be. No, you can see issues. I mean, those who are closer, I mean, I mean, you stated the law, and I'm just saying that the law is very stringent, and that you can't use circumstantial evidence unless it leads irresistibly to one conclusion. And in this case, it won't lead to that conclusion. Two, in fact, talking about conflict of interest, you need the GRUNOM in our jurisdiction is Article 284. And to say that the former president has put himself in the conflict of interest situation
by presiding over all the meetings.
No.
Whilst he was,
he's not presiding.
And I think when you say all the meetings, you may also be
he's not even presiding.
No, that he was in a certain official position.
Yes.
And he was the one charged with overseeing the aircraft process from the presidency.
Yes.
Okay, go.
Yes. And so,
and the chairman of the council.
So 284 requires that proximity, that familiar relationship that existed, that is likely to lead to a conflict of interest situation, must affect the performance of the president's functions of office. It's not just saying that he said, it must, and how does it do it? Did he vary what obviates the need for a decision or due diligence or a step or a motion to be taken in favor of his brother? Did he do that? The special prosecutor answers it neatly. He provides a chronology of what happens when the military is to take a decision to buy hardware. It means that everything that was required to be done under the circumstances was followed to the letter. How do you establish a conflict? Conflict of interest is not just saying, I mean, Salah and the Attorney General should bring your mind to the requirement of conflict of interest. It's just the fact that me and Samson, we come from the north.
You're talking about bias.
Bias.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, it comes with
the conflict of interest. That is affecting the functions of the office. It's being biased in favor of that person. And you don't see it in this matter.
But
what happens,
you
Samson?
Agree with the OSP's advice, whether it was a luckless coincidence or whatever it was? Do you agree? The conflict of interest rules require disclosure. If you promptly do a disclosure, you immune yourself from the problems.
The special prosecutor, and I agree with his advice, and I have since the matters broke, I've spoken with many people, and their advice and our conclusions tie in neatly with the advice of the special prosecutor. As a country, we must do very well to insulate the presidency or the president and the vice president in matters of this nature, in commercial activities. I mean, everything leads to back to the presidency. Everything leads to the vice president. I mean, I have heard in your government, people tell me that if you want something done, you must, by all means, see the president. It should not be the case.
Or you should see Gabi.
Or you should see, no, Gabi is not the president. If you see that, you know, that is because Gabi will go and see the president. Which as a country,
is not here to debunk that allegation.
No, I'm not saying, that's why I've said Gabi is not the president.
No, Gabi has admitted in Manasseh's book of his influence because of his proximity to the presidency, even though it's unofficial.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So we agree. I mean, I spoke to a very senior person in the party, and he told me, look, sir, after my interview, sir, it's true. Next time, we must protect the president. He mustn't be seen to be engaged, even with good intentions. Because you can see what happens, Samson, if you are sitting in this studio, then a brother from Mirugu or Sirigu or comes here, and then you are in the position of employing people in this establishment. Do you say that, well, because you are from the same town with me, you cannot take part in the interview? Do you say that? What you have to do is to put in institutional mechanisms so as not to give him unfair advantage over his colleagues. And that is what the former president.
And you know what you just said?
Yes.
It gets people to dislike you.
Yes.
There are people who make contact with me. I'm no politician. Some of you finish this show and they are standing around the place looking for you. They are following you all over the place, asking for jobs, immigration, police, and the rest. I am no politician, but I get the same requests coming to me. And sometimes, not sometimes, almost all the time, I begin with the caveat that I don't do this. Oh, but you know Gary. Gary is legal affairs.
And we're all here.
We can get to here.
Yes.
You know Abu Jinapor, what I'm looking for is within the forestry place. You know Kokofu, you know this. My own blood sister spoke to me about connecting to somebody who was, because of her job. And I said, I can't help you. But your family will not like you because you're saying these things.
Exactly. So what happens? That's why Salah and Attorney General should guide us in this discussion. What happens? And so that's why I feel, so anytime this case comes up, the former president has been greatly distressed. Greatly and sad. Because he did absolutely nothing. He lost his brother when his brother of his was 9 or 10 years. He was taken to the United Kingdom. Did not see him. He was engaged in other activities before former president became vice president. He was actually constituted as an agent of Airbus before he became vice president. Suddenly he appears leading. What do? You say, my brother.
To 2009.
My brother, I mean, even though you were under Kofo, you were leading this thing, and not me, I'm president, so you can't. What do? So you see the trauma that we have put the former president through. All he did was to ensure that all the motions were followed. All the motions.
Because that was his responsibility?
Yes. And if the motions are followed, and go back and look at what the former housing minister under Kufo, look at how I've forgotten his name. He has said, look, our brothers to eat. So when they come to us, all that we have to do is to ensure that we don't flout the laws in their favor.
Okay.
Now, so let me just conclude on these two things. So it's true, criminal law is jurisdictional. It's not extraterritorial. So if a person is charged with an offense, it doesn't automatically mean that Ghana can take it up. No. You must either find that offense in Ghana or you must lead that evidence as fact. The judgment becomes a question of fact in court. 3, we must also know that if you could not establish bribery and corruption,
it must be stated the principle of law that the judgment could be used as evidence in a court of law.
Yes.
Right.
As a question of fact.
Yes. Correct.
Now, again, in criminal jurisprudence, you can't infer the criminal conduct of a person. You don't infer from A, B, C, D. No. There's criminal conduct. You must see criminal conduct. Because
Mens rea, actus reus, 2 important things.
it must be there. You can't infer.
That there was the mind,
So
criminal
the
mind,
fact that you are saying that you can
and
look
there
at
was the actual thing
you look
done.
at all the, you can't infer criminal. The third thing is that I think that this matter has been brought to a close. The Nana Akufo-Addo has established, and I've said it on your studio here, has established a precedent. I have always said that when you read the Constitution doesn't say that a certain person cannot be investigated. It only says that you cannot be prosecuted. Now, it's a former president who has been investigated. I'm looking to our intelligence agencies, our security agencies, to gird their loins and investigate certain presidents.
I've heard people who are applauding the OSP for doing the first and doing a very great, bold job.
I have said it over and over again. If you read the Constitution, nowhere in the Constitution has it insulated a sitting president against investigation.
So now there's precedent going forward.
Going forward.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,